Hi everyone and welcome to my learning center themed under the big top at the carnival. So for this learning center, the topic is going to be on statistics and probability for 7th graders. So for the Common Core math standards, by the end of the class period, 7th grade students should be able to use data from a random sample to draw inferences about a population with an unknown characteristic of interest, generate multiple samples of the same size to gauge the variation in estimates or predictions, approximate the ability of a chance event by collecting data on the chance process that produces it and observing its long-run relative frequency and predict the approximate relative frequency given the probability. And for the last standard, it's having to do with developing a probability model and using it to find probabilities of events. And then also important is that you should be able to compare these probabilities from a model to observed frequencies, and if the agreement is not good, you should be able to explain it through the different possible discrepancies. So for the instructions, they don't have to complete the activities in a particular order necessarily. Depending on time, this unit would be towards the end, and it would be more of a formative based assessment where they would be not necessarily graded on their work, but on the quality of it. Like, yes, the work would be a factor too, but the quality is most important. And also to note is that the time limit would probably be about an hour, maybe longer, depending on how much time other students may need, depending on if there's any accommodations that have to be made for other students. So, as I mentioned in my instructions, please have no more than 2 to 3 people at each station. And for the activities that involve food, don't eat the food until the very end of class. And it's important to ask the instructor if they need help and just make sure that students have fun. So with one of the activities, what they're going to do is use animal crackers, and they'll each have their own bag and separate the animals inside by population. So then underneath part 1, there's a table where they would write down their animal under, for example, animal 1, say lion, and then they would count the amount of lions that are in the bag. Now, not all bags of animal crackers will be the same, and so when the students are doing this activity, it's important to note that not all of the boxes may be filled in the table. So then looking at part 2, being able to use the data from that table to create a bar graph, separating each population of animals. Now, if you wanted to be more specific, you could have them include the ecosystem or something like that, since this assignment is going to be a cross-curricular with science. So then for another activity, this is also including probability and chance, which is rolling a colored die and seeing what color it lands on and coloring in that particular circle each time. So from the instructions, they would roll the dice 8 times and color in the circle each time, keeping track of the colors they've rolled. And then in part 2, as you can see, there is a pie chart right here. And what they would do is they would count the circles. So for example, if this was blue, say this one was blue, this one was blue, they would color 3 of the triangles inside of the circle blue. Now, say that they only roll 2 colors, and only 2 colors will be in the circle. Because there's 6 sides to a dice, you already know that there's no guarantee that they're going to roll all 6 colors, which is why each student's response is going to be different. So, looking at the next activity, it's having to do with flipping a water bottle. So, what you could do is have the students bring in their own plastic water bottle, or you could supply them in the classroom and just get a pack of waters from the store. So, using the water bottle provided or their own water bottle, have them pour out 4 ounces of the water into a measuring cup, and then have them seal the cap back on tightly and have them flip the water bottle 10 times and have them write down the number of times it lands. Have them repeat this 3 times and then have them find the mean of the number of perfect lands. And then what you could do is have them do another round and pour out 4 more ounces of water and see if the results are different, and compare the average and see what one was better and have them explain why. Now for the last activity, it's a coin toss. So providing them a penny, nickel, dime, and quarter, have them flip each coin 10 times and have them tally the number of times they land on heads or tails in the table below. So then what you could do is, after they do the tally of it, you could have them find the percentage using either ratios or proportions to figure out what percentage of the time they landed on heads and what percentage of the time they landed on tails, as it's a 50-50 chance of you landing on heads or tails.